facing three major struggles. One of the first ones she's facing is what we call emotional unpredictability. The tears arrive without even warning her. She does not feel sad all the time though, but her emotions feels louder and everything seems to be closer to the surface and harder to contain. The second struggle is shame. Angela tells herself she's being dramatic. She apologizes for crying. She hides in the bathroom to compose herself. She feels like she is failing at being the strong person everyone accustomed that character being portrayed. And the third struggle is fear. Fear. She wonders if this is who she will be now and for the rest of her life. If she is losing control, if something is wrong with her mental health. Good night, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Healthy Reset. I am Nurse Maria, Nurse Joseph, and I am here with you all through this transition. And you know, we are doing at this time a 5-part series. We are actually on part 2, which deals with the emotional roller coaster that no one warned me about. That's our topic tonight. The emotional roller coaster that no one warned me about. Yes. Crying every day during menopause. Why it's happening and how to stop it. Have you ever found yourself crying over absolutely nothing lately? A TV show, an ad, a missing sock, or just because someone looked at you the wrong way and then wondered what is really going on with me? I am a woman sexual health nurse and I'm also a woman going through this menopausal transition myself. I have worked with women every day who feel emotionally overwhelmed, embarrassed by sudden tears, and worried they're losing control. I help women understand what's really going on or what's really happening in their bodies and how to get back to feeling like themselves again. Now, in this video, I am going to explain why menopause can make you cry so easily, what hormonal changes are driving those emotions, and simple practical ways you can calm the emotional roller coaster without feeling broken or dramatic. Now, make sure you watch until the end because I'll be sharing one mindset shift that helps many women stop blaming themselves and start feeling emotionally steady. So meet the common character. So let me introduce you to someone I call Angela. Angela is 48. She's competent, capable, and the type of person everyone relies on. At work, she keeps things running. At home, she remembers birthdays, groceries, and everybody's emotional temperature, as it were. But lately, Angela cries a lot. She cries in the car before work. She cries after reading a short email. She cries watching the news. She cries because dinner got burnt. Every time it happens, she feels embarrassed, confused, and quietly afraid. Charlie? Oh my gosh. No, she keeps asking herself, why can't I control this feeling anymore? And maybe you hear, good night, Nicole, and maybe you hear Angela and think, well, this crying and these emotions, it sounds familiar, uncomfortably, that is, uncomfortably familiar. So what are women actually dealing with at this time? Now, Angela is facing 3 major struggles. One of the first ones she's facing is what we call emotional unpredictability. The tears arrive without even warning her. She does not feel sad all the time though, but her emotions feels louder and everything seems to be closer to the surface and harder to contain. The second struggle is shame. Angela tells herself she's being dramatic. She apologizes for crying. She hides in the bathroom to compose herself. She feels like she is failing at being the strong person everyone accustomed that character being portrayed. And the third struggle is fear. Fear. She wonders if this is who she will be now and for the rest of her life. If she is losing control, if something is wrong with her mental health. And this is where many women get stuck. They assume crying equals to weakness and instability or failure. But the good news is none of that is actually true. Let us look at the science behind all these tears and all these emotions. Why is this actually happening to Angela? Here is what is actually going on. Now, during menopause, during perimenopause and menopause, estrogen levels, they fluctuate and decline. So that means there is a time it is high, levels go up extremely high, and there are times when the estrogen levels drop drastically. Now, estrogen plays a major role in regulating serotonin and dopamine. The brain chemicals responsible for mood, emotional balance, and resilience. When estrogen drops, your emotional buffering system weakens. That means feelings hit harder, stress lingers longer, tears come faster. So hence the reason why Angela is feeling so emotionally overwhelmed. Add to this, she has been going through, which many of us go through, and I am going through still, disrupted sleep, blood sugar swings, increased cortisol, and regular, well, what we say, everyday pressures. I wouldn't say the regular, but everyday pressures that often, and these things often peak in midlife. And suddenly, your nervous system is overloaded. You are not broken. So that's the good news. You are not broken, but your body is actually adapting to a major hormonal shift. Yes, Angela did not know this at first. She thought she was failing emotionally, when in reality, her body had actually changed. So let's look at Angela's breaking point here. Now, Angela's breaking point came one afternoon at work. A colleague gave Angela a mild feedback on a project. Nothing dramatic, nothing harsh, nothing personal. Angela nodded at her colleague and walked back to her desk, opened her laptop, and burst into tears. And not the quiet tears, that kind that makes breathing difficult. She locked herself in the restroom and thought, I cannot keep living like this. That moment matters because it is often the moment women decide either to suffer silently or to seek real support. So Angela chose the latter. She chose support. So Angela then decided to get professional help, professional coaching. So when Angela began working with me, the first thing I told her was, crying is not the enemy. Chronic emotional overload is. So we focused on 3 core areas. Let's go look at the first one. First thing we did was education. Angela learned what menopause was doing to her brain. Because usually when we think about menopause, we think about just the physical aspects of it, all the things that your body is doing differently than you usually know, the physical. But actually, it is much more than just the physical. It is the emotional. It touches, your psychological well-being beside the physical. So understanding what you are going through, what the brain and the nervous system was going through, helped to remove the fear that was associated with her emotional chaos. And secondly, we looked at regulation. We worked on stabilizing her nervous system through simple daily practices that, one, supported sleep. So she started to supplement on magnesium glycinate. She also started to decrease her sugar intake and her carbs, because we know carbohydrates break down into sugar. she started to look at her stress response, not being too quick to overthink and keep her mind quiet. She started to look, we started to look at that stress response and emotional recovery, right? So to get her emotions under control. So nothing extreme, nothing overwhelming. And third, what we looked at was reframing. Angela stopped interpreting tears as weakness. She learned to see them as signals that her body needed support and not criticism. So before we go further, here is what I want you all to know. In this section, I am going to walk you through the exact emotional patterns that make menopause crying worse. What most women do that accidentally keeps them stuck, and how to interpret the cycle without suppressing your feelings. And I, for one, can tell you, and I know about suppressing feelings. And as I'm going through this transition, I find myself over the last 6 months or so, that I really cannot hold back how I feel again. I have stopped suppressing my feelings. I have learned to say what is on my mind, not in being in a disrespectful way, but I've learned to stop suppressing your feeling, because I was feeling like I was would explode. And what I use on others, I started to use it on myself. So ladies, if you know you are the type, good night, Dale. If you know you are the type that holds your feelings in, this can contribute to your emotional distress. Let it out. Trying to protect everybody else's feeling and you are breaking down. Say what you need to say. I'm not saying you have to be disrespectful and always pleasing, but we have this way we want to please everybody. You don't want to say what you have to say. People might be telling you mean things, they might be telling you things to break you down, and you say, look, I want to keep the peace, and you don't want, and all that suppression, after a while, you start to feel like you would implode. So start to talk out your feelings. That suppression is not healthy. And later I will share the mindset shift I promised at the beginning, that changes everything for many women. So stay with me. The patterns that we women hold on to that keep us stuck. One of the biggest mistakes women make is trying to stop the crying at all costs. They tell themselves to look, that crying shows a sign of weakness. Toughen up. It's like you're holding in your breath. So they shame themselves internally because they are suppressing that feeling. This actually activates that stress response, ladies. So holding in your emotions, just as I was saying, can cause you to make that stress even worse. When you fight emotions, your nervous system interprets that as a danger signal. Another pattern is ignoring your body entirely. So you're at work, you're busy, look, you didn't eat your meal, you start to skip meals, you start to run on caffeine, starting to sleep poorly, overworking. Menopause exposes what the body can no longer compensate for. It exposes your weaknesses. So Angela was doing all of this. Once she stopped fighting her body and started to support it, the emotional intensity began to soften. Have you ever had something to say, you held it for a while and then realized, look, I really can't keep this thing out again. It's really eating, and that is what it does. It's really eating at me. And when you really get it out your system, you felt like, oh my gosh, it's like a whole load came off your shoulder. So what to do? How can I calm this emotional roller coaster? Let me share a few principles that help Angela and that helped me and help many other women. One of the things we have learned to do is to stabilize before you analyze. So when tears come, do not ask why are you like this? Ask, what does my body need right now? Start to relate to your body. So stabilize before you analyze. Support blood sugar with meals, with regular meals, with protein. Reduce emotional volatility more than most people realize. We know that when we reach at this time in our life. Good night, Miss Christine. Good night, welcome. We know that when we reach this time in our life, eating is vital. We cannot eat all that processed food, all that sweet food. Good night, Christine. That keeps our bodies in this heightened state. So protein with every meal is very, very, very vital at this time for that volatility. What about prioritizing? We know that sleep is the lack of is a major concern for many of us women going through this transition. poor sleep actually amplifies our emotional sensitivity. So small changes with that shortcoming of that magnesium that we so need to calm our system at this time, it is vital. I cannot do without supplementing. I cannot do without my magnesium, ladies. So this is something I've been using very, very, very regular. Generally on a daily basis. If I've forgotten, I pay for it generally. So my sleep, I guard my sleep. I guard that quiet time. It helps my mental health. Name emotions without judgment. Say how you feel. Stop hiding it. Say, I feel overwhelmed instead of I am ridiculous. Why? Your brain changes what you say, your words changes how your brain processes emotions. So that is important. So instead of saying ridiculous and what I'm going through is horrible, say I'm a bit overwhelmed, and your brain would process that emotion differently in a more positive understanding mindset. So it is important how we feed our brain and what words we use. You know, we know that words are powerful. Angela practiced these things consistently, not perfectly, and we're not looking for perfection. What we are looking for is consistency. So over time, Angela noticed something important. She still had emotions, but they no longer controlled her. She cried less, and when she did, she recovered faster. She stopped apologizing for her feelings. She communicated her needs more clearly. Her relationships improved because she no longer thought she had to battle everything silently, and she wasn't silently overwhelmed. Most importantly, she trusted herself again. That is what menopause threatens, and as that trust is what we rebuild. The one that changes everything. That is the mindset shift. Here is the mindset shift that I promised. Menopause is not making you weak. It is revealing what needs care. And I want us to remember this. Menopause is not making you weak. It reveals what needs care. So when you stop treating your emotions as problems and start treating them as information that your body is sending to you, everything changes. Crying becomes communication, not failure. So once Angela understood this, her fear disappeared. And when fear left, the tears softened. So any of us see ourselves in Angela anytime during our transition? Well, I can definitely say I've seen myself at one point in Angela's shoes. And I want you to know this. You, ladies, you and I, we are not alone. You are not dramatic, because a lot of the folks would say she are behaving like that because she's going through menopause. No, you're not dramatic, and you're not losing yourself either. You are actually just transitioning. And with the right support, this can be a season of clarity, it can be a season of strength, and it can be a season of self-trust. Now, if this session resonated with you, stay connected and watch until the end of the series. This is part 2 of the series, and take the next step towards understanding your body instead of fighting it. We all deserve emotional steadiness and not silent suffering. So I want to open the floor very, very probably just about one question or one comment. Let's say a comment for anybody that went through this transition. Not much time we have, about a few minutes. And let me know what you did, similar or even differently to what we did tonight in terms of dealing with that emotional roller coaster. Anybody dealt with this emotional roller coaster and overcame and would like to share a little bit of about your experience?
Hello, good night,
Good night.
Maria.
Good night, dear. Good night. Welcome.
No, it's not Dale. I hung up because someone else was
I'm
speaking.
Erica Richards.
Oh, okay. It's 2 ladies. Oh my. Okay, Miss Richards. So I'm talking to
Yes.
Miss Richards. So you want to tell us what you did to overcome this aspect?
Okay. Well, I would like to say good
What
night
is
to
the
each one.
what is
Good
the
night
main
to each one.
takeaway? Yeah.
The main takeaway in the menopause cycle, right? Now, first thing first, I
Mhm.
always speak about it. I always tell our women that, well, I belong to Church of God Seventh Day Church, and I know you visit us, right at Movant, right? And I'm the one, you remember, I'm the one who said I always speak about menopause, because, okay, I'm a retired geriatric nurse, and I saw what menopause do to a lot of ladies, and I was the one telling the ladies, and they went to work at night as nurses, telling them, the side effects and what we will get and so on. But that crying that you speak about, that, when we overwhelmed and we feel to cry, no, I would say when you in the Lord, right? When you give your life to the Lord Jesus, God help us overcome all of those symptoms that we go through. Because I go through it. As you said there, that whenever you go, when you're going down your lowness, you speak something optimistic, you talk some, just overcoming something, you don't cry and get on like a baby, because I see ladies fall, I see ladies, all those things, I see it happen to women, and I always do my best to uplift women with this menopause that we go through.
Okay.
I read about it, and so the takeaway, that crying is real. The ladies cry, and I go to them and I said, this is part of menopause. You are in the menopause state, and they didn't know whatever I talking about.
So
So
what I wanted to get to the point. So what you did to overcome yours?
what I did to overcome mine, it seemed like I said things different. That what you're saying there, that what you said. You use words. You use uplifting words. I use uplifting
Positivity.
words. Yeah, positive with me. So
Okay.
I will say, boy, oh boy, I was never like that. I was never like that. I was in menopause, and I uplift myself in it. I
Okay.
handle all my situation in it. So don't let it belittle you. It can make you really, you'll make people feel sorry for you. People feel sorry for you, but no, don't make yourself feel that way. You could
Okay.
you could bring yourself to a point that you could uplift yourself, because you know what is taking place. But then if you do not know the sign and symptoms, somebody have to tell you. So that is a part in it. When you do not know the cause of why you're reacting like that, is a different. I knew
Right.
all the causes, so I thank God listening from you and hearing more. In Jesus' name.
Thank you. Thank you. So positivity. Anybody else has anything to share before we close off?
Well, for me,
Yeah. Dale, yes.
going through menopause, first with just feeling ill, going to work and ECG abnormal, high blood pressure, all these sort of thing, episodes of vertigo, I just learned to accept that my body will be going through changes. I do not feel ashamed about it. And quite
All right.
honestly, when I started to speak about things, a lot of women within my age range will say, yes, I going through that too, and they will be happy that somebody else is experiencing and it's not just them alone. So in this aspect, being a healthcare professional, I
Yeah.
could talk and engage them. And now we have our next gen clinic. I can refer them and, thank Maria and Dr. Khan for the wonderful job you do.
You're welcome. So you embrace your change, and that made you to accept your transition even better.
That's right.
Right. Very good. So ladies, so everybody, I mean, I always say everything is not everybody wouldn't deal with things the same way, but positivity, self-acceptance, again, education, I got all of that coming out from the various testimonials at both ladies. So education is important, self-acceptance, understanding what your body is going through. This is what helps us to go through this emotional roller coaster, right? So I hope that you enjoyed tonight's session. We're not going as long as we used to, but we're trying to hit the nail on the head. So I want to thank you ladies for coming on tonight. Next week, we'll be doing part 3 of the session. And good night, Christine. We'll be doing part 3 of the session, and we'll update you as the time goes by on the next topic, so that you would come in and get more education into how to deal with the various challenges as we go through this transition. So again, I would say good night, Dr. Khan, and I